Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Ooh, do I got something new for you. Something fresh, something different. This is my Runemaster Fire Aura Disintegrate build. Or as people like to call in stream, Last Epoch's Righteous Fire. It is done, it is tested, it is over 300 corruption, and of course, it's a blast to play. I'm going to break it all down for you. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Right now, this is corruption 320. We are using Glyph of Dominion, and we are just running around with our Fire Aura, seeing what we can kill. And then when we need that extra damage, we bust out Disintegrate. Glyph of Dominion is going to give us a huge boost to our Disintegrate. Pushes the tooltip over 900,000. But the big thing here is you want to ensure you have 3 runes when you come out of Flame Rush. That is going to trigger as much as 8 Fire Auras. So it is really easy to stay over 10. Normally you're over 15 stacks of Fire Aura. Flame Ward is automated through stuns, and literally you just run around killing everything. It's very righteous fiery. We just tearing this stuff up. This is 320 corruption. Let me show you a boss fight. Shade of Orbis over 300 corruption. Now, when you're in boss fights, you do have to manage your mana a little bit. When you're dealing with single target, you got to make sure you have enough to take them down. So I just kind of bob and weave when I need just a quick regen. For the most part, you don't have to worry about it too much. You kind of want to be in melee range when you can, because you're going to be shredding fire resistance. Final phase. Shade of Orbis, over 300 corruption. You are dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, and we're going to start with Flame Ward, and I'll show you which nodes you want to take first, starting with the top here. Now, what you want to do is you want to automate this skill, which is so nice. You don't have to worry about hitting the button. You hear the ding, which means you're stunned, and this is automatically going to trigger, and you will have 2 charges, which means you'll have a lot of survivability when those stuns happen, because that's the majority of the time when you will die. Then you're going to come down and get 40% less hit damage, 30% less elemental damage. You're going to boost the duration of Flame Ward. And then, of course, you want Fire Aura and multiplicative damage to your Fire Aura. Very, very important. You will have 1 skill left over, and we just threw that into fire damage. Moving over to Glyph of Dominion, a great reason why you would want to be a Runemaster. You want to come down immediately, and you want to get Runes of Disintegration, which is going to give you 40% multiplicative damage, and Ward when you stand in it. This gets our tooltip closer to 1,000,000 on our Disintegrate, which is crazy. You're then going to come over, and you want it cast on you, so it protects you, and you're always on top of it, and you want 45% all resistance. You're going to turn it into a fire skill, and then you're going to come down here, more duration, and delay before detonation, so it lasts longer. Moving over to Disintegrate, there's so much good stuff here. So much good stuff. First thing you want to do is you want to come up and turn it into a fire skill, and you're going to get multiplicative damage per your intelligence. You're then going to come down here and take tier 2, tier 3 spreading flames, multiplicative damage, and resurgence, which is going to allow you to move and still maintain your tier 2, tier 3. It is really nice. You're then going to come down and get less hit damage, 50% multiplicative here, and then you've got these 6 points. Now, I do like putting 3 into Searing Plasma, and I like 3 into Intensify, so you can level up to 2 and 3 quickly. Now, if you are better than me, which you probably are, if you can maintain your mana, if you could stay positive mana, if you got some new gear around mana, if you have a lot of mana regen, I recommend 1 point out of Intensify, and you put it right here in Twin Beams. This will double your damage. It will double your fun. It'll also give you double the Fire Auras. Okay? But it costs a lot of mana. Moving over to Flame Rush, and this is going to be your cold skill, which is going to give you the invocation Fire, Cold, Fire. All right? What you want to do first is come down and make it that when you come out of Flame Rush, you're going to use your invocation, which is going to give you up to 8 stacks of Fire Aura. You're then going to come over and turn it into a cold skill. All right. You're then going to come up and you're going to get less hit damage. You're going to get some DR. You're going to get some cooldown recovery. You're going to get some speed and range. And just like Flame Ward, you'll have 1 point left over. I just put it in branding. You could put it anywhere. It doesn't matter. Last but not least, Runic Invocation. This actually took me a long time to figure out and testing, but it works great. First thing you want to do is come down here and you want to take Immutable Order. This makes it where your fire, cold, fire always makes wins, which is always going to give you your 8 stacks of fire aura. You're then going to come up and you want faster runes while channeling. This is a channeling skill. Flame Rush. Obviously, so is Disintegrate. So you want to make sure you make the runes quicker. And then you're going to come over to the left, and this is new. We're using Runic Energy and Scrolls. Now, what this is going to do is if you've built up enough Runic Energy, when you use Flame Rush and trigger wins, instead of giving you 4 stacks of Fire Aura, it's going to give you 8. And it's glorious. And then you're going to come over here, and also when you use Flame Rush and use your Invocation, it's going to give you cast speed and a spell buff for 3 seconds. Okay, those are the skills. Moving on to the passives. I'm currently level 100 and we've got points everywhere, so we'll take it 1 mastery at a time, starting with the Mage. We've got 6 into Scholar, 1 into Elementalist, 8 into Arcanist, and 5 into Arcane Flames. All enemies are going to be ignited, and this is going to give you a nice little 5% multiplicative damage. Moving over to Spellblade, the reason why this build exists. 1 into Elemental Affinity, 5 into Arcane Warden. This is going to give you Ward Decay threshold per intelligence. 8 into Flamewalker and 8 into Incinerating Aura. Now, Incinerating Aura's new threshold node allows you to boost the base damage of Fire Aura per your intelligence, which you couldn't do before. Huge. Also, people didn't know this, each of your Fire Auras have a chance to shred enemy fire resistance each second. Each Fire Aura. Fire Res chance per second, 50%. So if you had 20 stacks, that would be 1,000%. It's ridiculous. Moving over to Runemaster. 1 into Unsealed Mana, 1 into Arcane Focus, 6 into Transcendence. This is going to give you some nice ward per second, and that'll be boosted based upon your intelligence and life. We have 8 into Sphere of Protection. You always want to get as much DR as possible. 6 into Rune of Renewal. We just took this because of the mana regen. I'm trying to get as much mana regen as possible. And then 6 into Mental of the Catalyst. This got nerfed, but it's still really good. For this build, we have gone into reduced bonus damage from critical strikes. We then threw 1 into Never Late, 2 into Rune of Dilation. This is really just a couple of points to give you a boost to movement speed. 8 into Ancient Inscriptions, cooldown recovery. And 6 into Runestones, endurance mana, and mana gained as endurance threshold. Survivability. Last but not least, Sorcerer, 26 points. 5 into Calculated Destruction, 5 into Mana Shell, 6 into Wisdom, 4 into Afterglow, 1 into Pyromancer, and 5 into Lavamancer, which is going to give you Fire Penetration and Fire Leech. I have run the numbers, tested for hours, because there's so many possibilities to the passive. I have found these to be the best. Moving over to Last Epoch tools, we're going to break down the idols, blessings, and gear, starting with blessings. Now, for the most part, we have gone all survival. Void resistance, physical resistance, all resistance, and endurance, and then we buffed our mana pool. Now, on endurance, you have an option. You can go endurance for survivability or fire shred if you want even more DPS. The choice is yours, but I like endurance. When you move over to idols, there's a million good idols, but I like these ones the best. These are double damage over time idols. Fire damage over time and damage over time. And they can roll 40-40, which means if somehow you had these all maxed out, it would be 320 fire damage over time. Very, very nice. The other 2 idols we have on the outside is chance to cast Fire Aura on Fire Skill Kill and spell damage leached as health. Now, if you don't like that Fire Aura chance on kill, you can switch that out for Fire Penetration with Ignite. You can also take just increased Fire Aura damage. So you got some options there as well. Now, looking at gear, what's great about this, nothing is required. There is nothing required for this build. That being said, The head catalyst, in my opinion, is best in slot. That's what I'm using right now. This is fire damage, fire aura area, chance to cast fire aura every 2 seconds while channeling, chance to apply ignite on hit while channeling, and disintegrate deals more damage equal to your spell crit chance. If you don't have this item, you would not need spell crit on anything. That is the only reason why we take it. So the way this build planner is set up, this item would be required, but it's not like it's build defining. The build would still work without it. And then we are actually using a Knowledge of the Erased in the relic slot. I currently have one of these in game that have +4 to disintegrate. Okay, we'll go over each item one at a time. Helmet, spell crit, fire damage over time, life. Armor, fire damage over time, spell crit, life. Belt, elemental damage over time, mana regen, life. Boots, intelligence, movement, life. Amulet, elemental damage over time, spell crit chance. Ring, mana intelligence. Ring, mana intelligence. Gloves, intelligence, damage over time, life. And then weapon, elemental damage over time, and spell critical strike chance with fire penetration. That is the gear. Now let's talk leveling. Aaron, this is great, but how do I go from level 1 to what I see on screen right now? I will show you. Now you got 2 options, and I lean towards one. So I'll show you the first one. The skill you want to use is Elemental Nova. This is my favorite leveling skill for Mage. It doesn't matter if I'm a Source, Spellblade, or Runemaster, I like leveling with Elemental Nova. And the reason for that is inside of Teleport, you have this tree. Elemental Nova on arrival, Elemental Nova on departure, Elemental Nova at the halfway point, which means as you are running through the campaign, you are teleporting and killing enemies, so you never have to stop running. So that is what I like to do, teleport with Elemental Nova. Now the question is, do you want to run it as a fire build or do you want to run it as a lightning build? That is up to you. But I lean fire just because there is better fire uniques. There's better leveling uniques. Firestarter's torch. There's a bunch of stuff in fire, not as much in lightning, but they both do an absolutely great job. So if you go fireball, you just want to take cast speed, less mana, and then normally what I do is actually I go burst so that your fireball just does explodey damage. If not, you go lightning blast, and then on lightning blast, you just want to go up here and just do double cast and quad cast. You can really take it however you want. It doesn't matter. Now, depending on which way you go, Elemental Nova, if you go fire, you go down. And if you go lightning, you go to the right. That's it. You will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my Righteous Fire Runemaster? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I could do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. A couple of asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I've earned it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. It is the best way to support into the future. You get access to game night and movie night, VIP lounge, exclusive content. It supports me, and you get to hang out with the community. First link in the description. Lastly, get into the Discord. We are now over 4,200 enthusiastic action RPG gamers. We do giveaways every 2 weeks. We have community events going on too. We've got voice channels. Discord is a whole lot of fun. It is also linked in the description. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.